It was a cold evening when Violet went up to the old attic of the mansion. The floorboards creaked under her feet, and a layer of dust covered everything. She searched through old boxes and broken furniture, hoping to find something beautiful to decorate her room. That's when she saw it, a huge mirror standing against the wall, covered by a dirty white sheet. When Violet pulled the sheet away, she gasped. The mirror was tall and elegant, framed with dark wood carved in strange patterns that looked almost alive. She brushed her hand over the carvings and felt a sudden chill. For a moment, she thought she saw something move inside the glass, like a shadow passing behind her. But when she turned around, the attic was empty. Downstairs, Isaac and the others were sitting near the fireplace. When Violet showed them the mirror, Isaac frowned. "That mirror belonged to our great-grandmother," he said quietly. "She used to say it showed what the heart hides." Violet smiled and laughed it off, calling it a silly story. She decided to clean it and keep it in her bedroom. She liked the way it looked old and mysterious, just like the house. That night, she placed the mirror near her window. The moonlight reflected off the glass beautifully, filling the room with a soft silver glow. Violet stood in front of it, brushing her hair. For a moment, everything felt peaceful. But as she turned away, something strange happened. Her reflection in the mirror didn't move right away. It stayed still for a few seconds, then slowly turned its head toward her and smiled. Violet froze, staring at the mirror. The reflection's smile disappeared, and everything looked normal again. She whispered to herself, "Just my imagination," blew out the candle, and went to bed, but the mirror's surface rippled softly, as if something inside was awake. The next night, the rain tapped softly on Violet's window. The room was quiet, except for the wind whispering outside. She sat at her desk, reading an old journal she had found in the attic earlier. But something kept pulling her eyes toward the mirror. It stood across the room, tall and silent, reflecting the faint candlelight. Finally, she got up and walked closer to it. Her reflection looked tired, with dark circles under her eyes. She smiled weakly at herself, but her reflection didn't smile back. Violet blinked, confused. She leaned in a little closer. Her reflection still stared back at her, but suddenly, without warning, it smiled. A slow, wide smile that didn't reach the eyes. Violet gasped and stepped back, her heart pounding. The smile stayed for a few seconds, and then it was gone. Her hands shook as she rubbed her eyes. "I must be tired," she whispered. "It's just the candlelight." To calm herself, she turned around to blow out the candle. But just before she did, she noticed something terrifying. Her reflection hadn't turned around with her. It was still facing forward, eyes wide and unblinking. Violet spun around again. The reflection quickly moved, pretending to match her motion, but it was too late. She had seen it clearly. Her breath came fast and shallow. She covered the mirror with a sheet again and backed away toward her bed. The house was silent, and even the rain seemed to stop for a moment. As she lay down, she tried to convince herself that it was just her imagination, that old mirrors play tricks in dim light. But across the room, under the sheet, something moved. The fabric shifted slightly, as if a hand was pressing from the inside, and the faint outline of a smile appeared behind the cloth. The mirror wasn't reflecting anymore. It was watching. The morning sunlight filled Violet's room, but it didn't make her feel safe. She hadn't slept well. All night, she kept dreaming of the mirror, of the smile that wasn't hers. When she woke up, she saw the sheet she had placed over the mirror lying on the floor. Violet frowned. "I know I covered it," she whispered, staring at the mirror. It stood silently by the window, clean and polished, as if someone had wiped it during the night. Trying to ignore her fear, she got ready for the day. But while brushing her hair, She noticed something strange again. Her reflection didn't move exactly with her. When she lifted her right hand, the reflection lifted the left. When she tilted her head, the reflection followed half a second later. Her breath caught in her throat. "Stop it," she whispered to the mirror. At that moment, Luna entered the room, cheerful and unaware. "Violet, breakfast is ready," she said. Violet turned quickly, pointing toward the mirror. "Look, it's not moving right. Watch closely." Luna stared at the mirror for a few seconds and frowned. "It looks normal to me," she said softly. Violet shook her head. "No, you don't understand. It's different when I'm alone." Luna smiled gently, trying to calm her. "You've been tired lately, Vi. Maybe you just need rest." Then she left the room. As soon as the door closed, Violet turned back to the mirror and her reflection was smiling again. Slowly, the background inside the mirror began to darken, fading into shadows, while her real room stayed bright and warm. The reflection's smile widened until its lips stretched unnaturally. Then, with a soft cracking sound, a small line appeared on the glass like a fracture. Violet stumbled backward, her pulse racing. The mirror stopped moving. The smile vanished. But she knew one thing for sure now: the person in the mirror wasn't her anymore. That night, the mansion felt heavier than usual. The wind howled through the halls, and faint creaks echoed in the walls. Violet sat on her bed, hugging her knees, staring at the mirror across the room. She had covered it again, but this time she placed books and candles in front of it, as if that would stop it from moving. The candlelight flickered, making shadows dance across the walls. Violet tried to read a book to distract herself, but she couldn't focus. The air suddenly turned cold. Her candle flame bent sideways as if something invisible had breathed on it. Then, from behind the sheet, came a soft sound, a whisper. Her name. Violet. Violet froze. Her eyes widened. The voice was faint, soft like a breath, but it was there. She stood up slowly, her feet trembling on the wooden floor. "Who's there?" she whispered. No answer. Just silence. Then again, Violet. The sound came directly from the mirror. She stepped closer, her heartbeat loud in her chest. The whispers grew louder now, overlapping, dozens of faint voices whispering her name again and again. Her fingers touched the sheet, and it suddenly moved from the inside, like something brushing against it. Violet screamed and stumbled back, knocking over a candle. The flame flickered out, and the room fell into darkness. The sheet slipped off the mirror, revealing her reflection, only it wasn't her. The reflection's eyes were glowing pale white, its mouth moving slowly, whispering her name again. "Come closer," it said. Violet couldn't move. Tears ran down her face. The reflection pressed a bloody hand against the inside of the glass, leaving a red print that slowly began to drip downward. Then the whispers stopped. The mirror went still again. When Violet finally lit another candle, the reflection was normal, calm, and lifeless. But the bloody handprint was gone. The glass looked spotless, as if nothing had ever happened. The next morning, Violet told everyone what happened during the night. Her voice shook as she described the whispers and the glowing eyes in the mirror. Isaac, Jacob, and Max listened carefully, but they exchanged worried glances. Jacob sighed. "It's just a trick of the light," he said gently. "Mirrors can do strange things in the dark." But Violet shook her head. "No, it's real. I heard voices. I saw me, but not me." Isaac finally stood up. "Then we'll move the mirror out of your room," he said firmly. "Whatever it is, it doesn't belong here." Together, Isaac, Jacob, and Max went to her room. The mirror stood by the window, reflecting the gray morning light. They grabbed it by the sides, trying to lift it, but it wouldn't move. It was as if it was glued to the floor. The wood creaked, the frame shook, but it wouldn't budge. Jacob frowned and leaned closer to inspect the mirror. That's when he froze. "Isaac," he whispered, "look." Inside the mirror, the reflection wasn't their room. It was something else, a long, dark hallway filled with fog. The walls in the reflection were cracked and covered in black moss. Flickering candles floated in the air, and at the end of that hallway stood Violet's reflection. She was smiling, waving at them slowly. Isaac's face went pale. "That's not possible," he whispered. Suddenly, the candles in the reflection went out one by one. The image grew darker until only the reflection of Violet's glowing eyes remained. A deep cracking sound came from the mirror's frame. The glass shimmered like water, rippling from the center outward. Jacob stumbled back. "Let's get out," he shouted. As they rushed out of the room, the mirror's surface stilled again, and inside it, their reflections were gone. The only figure left standing there was Violet's double, still waving and smiling, from the other side. Violet couldn't stop thinking about the mirror. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw her reflection's cold smile and those glowing eyes staring back. She knew now, whatever lived inside that mirror was not her imagination. It was real. And it wanted her. Determined to find answers, Violet went to the library in the mansion's west wing. The air there was thick with dust and the smell of old paper. She searched through ancient books until she found one wrapped in a black cloth. The title read, "The Ritual of Reflection." As she read, her hands began to shake. The book described a dark spell used by witches to trap a person's soul inside a mirror, creating a living reflection that grows stronger by feeding on fear. Once strong enough, it could switch places with a real person. Violet's heart pounded. "That's what it's trying to do," she whispered. "It wants to replace me." She ran back to her room. The mirror seemed to glow faintly, as if it already knew what she had discovered. "I'm not afraid of you," she said aloud, stepping closer. The reflection smiled again, tilting its head slightly. "Aren't you?" it whispered through the glass. Violet gasped. The voice came from the mirror itself. The reflection's eyes turned black and cracks began to spread across the glass. Thick, dark smoke leaked out, swirling around the room like a storm. Then the reflection stepped forward, out of the mirror. It looked exactly like her, but colder, paler, and smiling in a way Violet never could. "You've looked at me long enough," it said softly. "Now it's my turn to live." Violet backed away, clutching the ritual book to her chest. The lights flickered and shadows stretched across the walls. The mirror's glow grew brighter, pulsing like a heartbeat. The real Violet took a deep breath and whispered, "If you want my life, you'll have to fight for it." The storm outside raged as Violet faced her mirror twin. Lightning flashed through the window, casting both their shadows across the walls. The reflection, no, the other Violet smiled coldly, its eyes glowing faint white. "You can't win," it whispered. "You created me." Violet clutched the ritual book tightly, flipping through trembling pages as the wind howled through her room. "You're not real," she said, though her voice shook. "You're just a reflection." The doppelganger tilted its head and stepped closer, its movement smooth and unnatural. Every step it took left a faint burn mark on the wooden floor. "Then why do I have your face? Your voice? Your fear?" Violet backed against the wall. The mirror behind the creature shimmered, showing flashes of the foggy hallway again, the same one Jacob had seen. Inside the mirror, faint shapes moved, whispering and clawing to escape. Desperate, Violet remembered a line from the book. To break the spirit within, one must shatter its home. She looked at the candlestick on her desk, grabbed it, and faced her reflection again. "Go back where you belong," she said. The other Violet's smile widened, stretching unnaturally across its face. "If I go back, you come with me." With a scream, Violet swung the candlestick. The glass cracked once, twice, and then shattered completely with a deafening sound. A violent gust of cold air burst through the room. Papers flew, the candles went out, and the black smoke screamed as it twisted into the mirror shards. Both Violets screamed together, the real one and the one inside. When the wind stopped, Violet fell to the floor, trembling and pale. The mirror was gone, only hundreds of glass pieces remained scattered like ice. In one shard beside her hand, she saw her reflection still smiling, even though her own lips were trembling. The smile in the shard whispered faintly, "Now I'm free." The storm finally quiets. Violet sits on the floor, surrounded by broken shards of glass. Each tiny piece reflects her face, and in every reflection, the eyes blink at different times. She reaches to touch one shard, and the glass trembles, whispering softly, "You can't break what's already inside." A cold wind sweeps through the mansion, snuffing out every candle. From the dark hallway outside, a faint humming begins, a melody no one has heard before. Violet looks up slowly. Who's there? The door creaks open on its own. Next episode, Aurora's Song, where a forgotten lullaby awakens something beneath the mansion. Subscribe now, before the mirror smiles again.